Hello kids, good morning all. Today we are going to continue our fourth chapter. The chapter name is What Books and Burials Tell Us. So let us start from page number 39. The society divisions. We'll see the society, how society divide into four parts. So society was divided into four varnas. The four varnas were Brahman, Kshatriya, Vaishyas and Shudras. So number one, Brahmans. Brahmans were the scholarly community. It included the priests, scholars, law specialists, ministers and diplomats. Number two is Kshatriyas. Kshatriyas were high and lower nobilities. It included the kings, noblemen, soldiers and administrators. Number 3 is Vaishyas. Vaishyas were the mercantile and artisan community. It included the merchants, shopkeepers, businessmen and farm owners. Number 4 is Shudras. Shudras were the service providing community. It include mostly manual and farm laborers. So Varnas were the job that people did in the early Vedic period. People were allowed to freely change jobs and occupations, and so the Varna was not fixed for a family. When a person changed a job, his Varna changed too. Sometimes the people who composed the hymns described themselves as Aryas and called their opponents Dasas or Dasis. So there were people who did not perform sacrifices and probably spoke different languages. Later, the term Dasa and the feminine Dasi came to mean slave. Slaves were women and men who were often captured in war. They were treated as the property of their owners who could make them do whatever work they wanted. While the Rigveda was being composed in the northwest of the subcontinent, there were other developments elsewhere. Let us look at some of these. The people who decided all this called themselves the Aryas. So these were people who came into India from Central Asia. When they came into India, the original Indians were already staying here. The Aryas called the original people of India Dasas or Dasis. So they spoke a different language and had a different way of life too. So later the Aryas conquered the Dasas and made them their slaves. The word Dasa came to mean slave. So Valmiki, the writer of Ramayana, was a hunter by profession. Vedvyas, the writer of the Mahabharata, was born into a fisherman family. Because of their intellectual and spiritual powers, they achieved the highest position in social hierarchy and are regarded as Maharishis. So, these people who decided all this called themselves the Aryas. Now, silent sentinels, the story of the megaliths. The story of the megaliths. So what is megalith? Mega means huge, lith means stone. So megaliths means huge stone. So megaliths were huge boulders that were arranged by people to mark places where people were buried. So people from northeast India, South India, Deccan and Kashmir used to follow this method of marking burial sites. You can find places that had megalithic burials on the map. This way of marking burial sites started about 3000 years ago. Now, megalithic burials. A single large stone standing on the ground usually indicates that there must be a burial under it. Scientists have sometimes found a circle of stones underneath. A circle of stones is called a cyst. They have entrances called portholes. Scientists think that people belonging to the same family must have been buried in the same grave. However, people in a family don't all die at the same time. So, how would the one who died later be put in the same grave? Through the portholes. You can see in the picture there is a porthole. The stone circles must be to make the site so that people could come back to it later. Archaeologists have found objects buried along with the dead people. The objects probably belonged to the person who was buried. The kind of object and number of objects found in the different graves is different. That probably tells us that some people were rich, some were poor, some were chiefs, and some were followers. One skeleton was found buried with 33 gold beads, 2 stone beads, 4 copper bangles, and a conch shell. Conch means shankh. Then burials at Inamgaon. Inamgaon is in Pune district on the banks of the Ghoda river. Archaeologists found huge burial sites that were built 2700 to 3600 years ago. Adults were buried in the ground with their head facing north. Vessels with food and water were also buried with the dead. One man was found buried in a large clay jar in the courtyard of the largest house in that settlement. The man's body was found in a cross-legged position. Archaeologists think this was the body of a chief. Archaeologists have found seeds of different plants and grains, so they can guess what crops were grown. The animal bones help them guess what animals they must have domesticated. The bones also help them guess what animals generally lived in that area. Now studying skeletons. So finding a human skeleton is very exciting for an archaeologist. So they can guess if it's an adult or a child from the size of the skeleton. From the hip bones, they can tell if it's male or female. Females have larger hip bones, so they can bear children. Now, occupations at Inamgaon. Archaeologists have found seeds of wheat, barley, rice, pulses, millets, peas, and sesame. Bones of a number of animals, many bearing cut marks that show they may have been used as food, have also been found. These include cattle, buffalo, goat, sheep, dog, horse, ass, pig, sambar, spotted deer, black buck, antelope, hare, and mongoose. Besides birds, crocodile, turtle, crab, and fish. So there is evidence that fruits such as bear, amla, jamun, dates, and a variety of berries were collected. Now find China in your atlas. Around 3500 years ago, we find some of the first evidence of writing in China. These writings were on animal bones. These are called oracle bones because they were used to predict the future. Kings got scribes to write questions on the bones. Would they win battles? Would the harvest be good? Would they have sons? The bones were then put into the fire and they cracked because of the heat. The fortune tellers studied these cracks and tried to predict the future. As you may expect, they sometimes made mistakes. These kings lived in palaces in cities. They amassed vast quantities of wealth, including large, elaborately decorated bronze vessels. However, they did not know the use of iron. So, our chapter is finished. We will see some question and answers in our next chapter, next video.